Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to do an update or a part 2 to a very interesting, not to mention revealing story that I covered about 5 weeks ago, which is titled, After Chatting with 503 Women and Close to 100 Dates, a Viewer Confirms Why Men Keep Walking Away. As a recap, that's about the guy who documented his experience in dating last year, 2022, and how everything he observed and went through proves what a train wreck modern dating is. He documents and details how he hit up like 500 women on the different dating apps, and how that only led to maybe 100 conversations, which led to so many dates, which led to so many second dates, which led to hookups, etc., etc. And based on all his experiences and the types of gals he dealt with and the drama and BS, he proved why men are walking away and why men have the attitude they do nowadays with regards to dating, relationships, all that. He's now following up with more about this, about how in his story he talked about how in his past he unfortunately screwed up big time and knowingly hooked up with a married woman for several months, and almost with another one, but he didn't know that she was married at the time. And he's going to go through this whole thing here telling all about that, about what he learned from these women that cheat on their husbands and do not give a shit. He'll talk about how when he met them, the sneaky tactics they used to find him, to rope him in, their excuses for why they were cheating on their husbands, because of course the husbands were all these awful things, the way they got their nice guy husbands, and how this whole thing played out. And so even though he was in the wrong for hooking up with a married woman, and he knows this, he's revealing this to help show guys what to watch out for, the attitude that they have, the excuses that are made, and red flags all together. So that'll be a very revealing one to go over here. And again, it ain't cool what he did, but at least he's revealing what goes on behind the scenes, and he's aware of this and all that, and I will point these things out along the way. Definitely a very revealing story. So he says here, or he continues on, he says, Dear SSM, I once again want to thank you for sharing my email and making a video about it, which was titled Dating in 2022 Equal a Train Wreck. At the end of the video, you mentioned if I'm keeping track of my 2023 dating experiences to let you know the outcome. I'm way ahead of you. I'm taking even more detailed notes of everything that goes on. Good, bro. Do all the notes. And at the end of this year, report back to me, and I can do a video at the beginning of 2024. I'll be happy to do it. He says here, stay tuned. In that email, I talked about knowingly hooking up with a married woman and unknowingly hooking up with other married women, which I know is not cool. Smack. Yeah, smack. Not cool, you know it, don't ever fucking do it again. After watching your video, it got me thinking about other videos you made of married women or women in relationships cheating on their significant other. When the betrayed partner finds out and wants to know details about the infidelity, they never, ever get the entire story. Nope. They never get the full story. Don't even waste your time, guys, because you're never going to get it. I decided to write this email because I wanted to give men insight and a peek behind the cheating curtain of what really goes on when women are cheating. Even if it doesn't become a video, just writing this out has been therapeutic. Bro, you had to know I was going to do this as a video. Your other one was excellent, very revealing, and this one here is equally revealing. Sad, but revealing. Says, this is the first time I knowingly met a married woman was 5 years ago. We can call her Jess. Jess messaged me on a dating site. Her profile didn't have any pictures of herself on there. It was pictures of landscapes. If a woman doesn't have any pictures of herself on a dating app or something like that, it's for one of two reasons. Either they're hiding who they are on purpose, so like their husband and friends and family don't see it, or she's some 500-pound, hairy-looking orangutan of a woman, and she's trying to catfish you. When I asked her why she didn't have any pictures of herself, she admitted that she was married and didn't want anyone that knows her or her husband to come across her on a dating app. There you go. Normally, I was never a guy to meet or be involved with a married woman or relationships. Curiosity got the best of me. Smack. And once Jess sent me pictures of what she looked like, I gave in to temptation. Smack. He says, I know, smack. Yeah. She was in her late 30s and very attractive. We agreed to meet in the parking lot of a gym she goes to. We ended up talking in her car for an hour. I asked her why she wanted to see someone outside of her marriage. The answer she just gave me had me speechless. She said that she'd been living it up in her early 20s, riding the carousel, and she ended up getting pregnant by a guy, Chatter Tyrone, that disappeared when he found out that she was pregnant. Talk about a stereotype, huh? Young pretty girl in her 20s, riding the carousel with the bad boys, gets pregnant, Chatter Tyrone heads for the hills. And predictably, what do you think she's going to do now? Find herself a nice guy as soon as possible that can pay for her and her kid. And watch this. Jess said being a single mother was difficult. No shit, honey. And she wanted to find a guy that would take care of her and her child. Jess's best friend told her she would introduce Jess to her husband's best friend. Oh, that's real nice of them. We will call him Sam. Jess met Sam at a barbecue her friend put together. She wasn't really attracted to Sam, but he had a good job and his own house, and he took a liking to Jess right away and didn't mind that she already had a child. This poor dumb bastard. No idea. I guarantee he thought, yes, this pretty young girl is paying attention to me. I'm going to be her hero. I'm going to be her white knight in shining armor and take her in and take her kid in and blah, blah, blah. And she'll love me so much and we'll live happily ever after, just like the movies. Wrong. Sam didn't have much experience with women. Shocker. So he was putty in her hands from the get-go. Sam proposed to Jess after a few months of dating her. Smack to Sam. Sam needed someone like me to guide him and not get involved with someone like her. She said yes, but that was her way to a better life. Fast forward to when I met Jess. They've been married for 14 years, had 2 kids of their own along with her child, and Jess was able to be a stay-at-home mom. What a great deal for her, huh? And she had 2 kids with him. They were insurance policies. Sam paid for everything, including the car we were sitting in. She had the typical sob story. Sam wasn't good in bed, he was boring, and didn't want to go out and do anything. You knew who you married, honey. Mr. Excitement was Chad and Tyrone. Mr. Boring is going to be the nice guy you settle for to take care of you and your kid. What do you expect? That's how it works. Nice guys aren't going to be like the bad boys. They're not going to make you exciting. Now, certainly guys, you're going to do relationships, you got to take your girl out. You got to take charge and dominant and not in a mean way. You need to keep things exciting in the bedroom. If you're going to do relationships, you got to do that. Otherwise, if she gets bored, she's going to find somebody else. But still, she's the a-hole here, and we all know it. He was a bookworm and would be off to himself anytime they were at a gathering of family or friends. Jess was very social. Interesting way to describe her. She was the life of the party. She wanted to have fun and good sex. Basically, Jess wanted a full-blown relationship on the side. I declined her offer. Good for you. She even sent me some new pictures to try and entice me to give her a chance. I ultimately decided against the whole situation. I'm sure she found another guy. Well, I'm glad you redeemed yourself and didn't get involved with her. That's good. Unfortunately, the next girl, he does get involved with. And yes, I guarantee you she found somebody else. So right there, guys, you lay it out. Rolling in the hay with Chad and Tyrone in their 20s. And what I always tell you, they have the fun with the bad boys until they get to the point that they want to get married, realize the bad boys aren't going to marry them, so they find their nice guy, like this. Or get pregnant with Chatter Tyrone. Chatter Tyrone heads for the hills. They're not raising that baby. So they find a nice guy to settle down with, a boring guy, and yet complain when they're married to him that he's boring because they knew who they were getting involved with. And the guy foolishly thinks, yes, the movies were right. And little does he know that his sweet little missus who he was rescuing turned out to be the dragon he thought he was slaying. Okay, he says, next. Now on to the married woman I did end up sleeping with for 6 months. Smack. He says, once again, I met her on a dating site. However, this was a little different. I thought I was matching with a woman we would call Brooke. When the woman I thought was Brooke messaged me, she said she wasn't Brooke, but her friend Tanya. I instantly thought I was being catfished or this woman was in some sort of relationship. I asked her, was she married, engaged, or in a relationship? Tanya told me she was married and using her friend's profile to not get caught. There you go. The first girl didn't have any pictures, had landscape pictures, but was doing that to hide who she was. And this one is having her friend reach out on her behalf so she doesn't get caught. Do you see the sneaky tactics being used here, guys? He says, SSM says it all the time, pay attention to the friends a woman keeps. Clearly Brooke was in on helping her friend cheat. I gave Tanya my phone number and told her to send me pictures of what she looked like. I figured if she wasn't attractive, I wouldn't respond back. If she was really attractive, I would hook up with her a few times and move on. He says, I know, not cool, smack. Yeah. Tanya was very attractive for a woman in her late 40s. After a few messages back and forth, we set up a time to meet at my place. She came over after work. Tanya would tell her husband she was going to the gym after work. She even brought gym clothes to change into after the SEX to make it seem as though she'd been at the gym and to be able to immediately shower upon getting home without suspicion. I asked her why she was stepping out her husband, and I got the typical sob story. Of course she got the sob story. He's the bad guy. He's the villain. Well, listen to her sob story. First, she told me that her current marriage was her second marriage. Imagine that. This chick has to be on her second marriage because she obviously did a bang-up job on her first one. She said her first husband was, wait for it, abusive and didn't want kids. She had to get out of it. With her current husband, she went for a safe choice. Let's call him Bob. Tanya met Bob at a church event. Tanya was 30 when they met. She wanted to get married and have kids right away. Again, little insurance policies. Tanya said she pressured Bob into dating and marrying her within 2 years of meeting. They ended up having 3 kids together. When I met Tanya, she and Bob had been married for 18 years. She had been unhappy in their marriage for years because Bob no longer pays her attention. He drinks a lot, they barely have SEX, and when they did, the SEX is terrible. She claimed that she would never had an O with him. He's not aggressive in the bedroom. He has a below average package. They don't sleep in the same bed very often. He falls asleep on the couch on a nightly basis, etc., etc. If married men or men in relationships knew how badly their wives or girlfriends talked about them to the guys they're cheating with, it would make the relationship men cry. So I'm going to take an intermission here, guys. Let's review. Both gals deliberately chose guys who they would never give the time of day to when they were having their fun. Guys they knew would make good husbands with resources, who they think wouldn't cheat on them, but they knew darn well they were boring. They weren't going to excite them like the bad boys and all that, but they didn't care. And yet, they're bitching and complaining about how they are in the marriage. Now, again, I got to say this. I'm going to be fair here. Your relationship, guys. If you take care of yourself, guys, you go to the gym, you make good money, you got resources, you're doing your part, you're acting like a masculine man, taking charge and all that, and yet somehow your wife, once you got married, put on a lot of weight, even though you're working hard, and doesn't want to work, and is not giving you the SEX, and she's a pain in the ass, and she's not loyal, you got reason to complain, right? Because she's not being the same gal she was before you got married. Well, the same thing is, if a gal gets together with a guy, and the second they get married, he lets himself go, he gains a bunch of weight, or he stops taking her out, or stops giving her the SEX, and he starts being a weakling, lets her run the relationship instead of him, all these things. In a matter of time, she's going to get bored. She's going to lose attraction, get bored, get bitchy, cheat, or leave him. Any number of those things. So a guy has to, if you do relationships, gotta take care of things, okay? Gotta keep taking your girl out, keep yourself in shape, and she has to do as well. Now, these girls in these examples I'm giving, they're a-holes, we can all agree there. And I'm sure they're exaggerating things big time, justifying their awful cheating actions. However, I'm sure there is some element of truth with regards to the guys not paying attention to them, letting themselves go, being boring, never taking them out. So remember, guys, you gotta do some things. Now, again, I'm not justifying their actions. I'm just saying what guys have got to do if they're going to do a relationship, and make that abundantly clear. I've been in a number of relationships. I know this. Okay. Now we're getting to the real juicy stuff about the bedroom action with Tanya, the mom. He says here, Tanya revealed her fantasies of wanting to be dominated, to be called an SLUT or WHORE, having her hair pulled, her ass smacked really hard, to be choked, made to swallow a man's love juices. She's one of those girls, huh? In other words, she wants a guy to do everything that her husband would never have the balls to do. Tanya and I began hooking up once a week. She would go to the gym right after work to shower, change into her workout clothes, and come to my place. After a couple of months of hooking up, I asked, was this her first affair? Tanya told me she had carried on a 3-year affair with a coworker that ended 6 months prior to us meeting. Once a cheater, always a cheater, guys. The reason the affair ended was because her coworker's wife found out about the affair and threatened to reveal everything to Tanya's husband and divorce her husband if he didn't end it. This time around, she wanted to meet a single guy that wouldn't have a wife or girlfriend to deal with. Oh, well, how considerate of her. Tanya would text me how much she enjoyed our sex, how sore she was from the last encounter between us, and how she couldn't wait until our next time together. And this poor husband has no idea this is going on. And this woman here is a mom, I might add, guys. She's cheating on her kids too. She would even send nudes while her husband was home. Tanya would tell me sometimes that Bob was in the same room when she would text me. She told me if I didn't want her to sleep with Bob anymore, all I had to do was say so, and she wouldn't. What I also tell you about gals liking to punish their guy for acting weak. You know, why wouldn't she just divorce this guy? She's unhappy. He's not, in her view, meeting her needs. Why does she just divorce him? Because it's a lot easier to have Bob around to pay the bills. She doesn't have to do much, and she's got the kids and all that. She wants to have her cake and eat it too. This is so common. Again, I'm sure Bob could certainly do better in the marriage. I'll say that. I'm all about accountability and self-improvement, and guys have to act like men. But she's a piece of garbage. It says here, there was one time when Brooke, the original woman I thought matched with on the dating site, began messaging me out of the blue. I thought it was suspicious because Tanya mentioned her and Brooke were on a girls' trip together. Sure enough, when Tanya messaged me, I asked her did she have Brooke message me about, and she said she did. Tanya had bragged to Brooke about our hookups and wanted her friend to get together with me as well. He says, remember my last email when I mentioned one woman referred to me to her friend and her friend ended up coming to my house for sex? These are the ladies I was talking about. Guys, I'm telling you to take heed of what SSM says about paying attention to your wife's friends. I've been saying that from the get-go, guys, and right here. Pay attention to who your girl hangs out with. If they're a bunch of carousel riders, at least you know about, it's going to rub off on her. It's only a matter of time. Around 4 months into hooking up with Tanya, my conscience started getting to me that this wasn't right and I should end things. Only 4 months, huh? I knew how I felt when I found that my ex had cheated on me and I didn't want to be the cause of a breakup at home. Hold on here. Are you telling me prior to you hooking up with a married woman, knowingly hooking up with a married woman, you had an ex that did the same thing to you and you still did this? Dude. Karma's going to come and bite you in the butt one of these days. I know you feel bad about it now, and I know you're sharing your story to show the guys what happens behind the scenes, and I appreciate that. You know, it does help, but not cool. He says, Tanya started being busy with her kids' sports schedules, and we couldn't meet once a week like we had been before. We would meet 2 times over the next couple months, and that was when I finally told her I couldn't continue seeing her. She reluctantly agreed despite trying to plead her case about wanting to continue seeing me. 3 months went by with no contact. Then Tanya would message me out of the blue asking if she could see me again. I told her I couldn't see her as long as she was still married. She sadly said, okay. This all took place 2 years ago in 2020. I thought I wouldn't ever hear from her again, and sure enough, Tanya messaged me towards the end of 2022 on Facebook saying that she missed me and if I wanted to see her again. What I tell you guys, but they always come back. Right here. And if the guy does the breaking up of the relationship, they especially come back because women can't handle being dumped and rejected. Again, I asked her if she was still married, and she said yes. She probably couldn't find somebody else to replace you. That's why she's back to you. I told her the same thing as the last time. I would not be seeing her as long as she was married. I'm sure it won't be the last time I hear from her. No. You'll probably hear from her in a year, guaranteed. Again, I want to reiterate that this story is not to brag or boast, but to bring awareness to the relationship guys. Take your time and thoroughly vet any woman you plan on getting into a relationship with, live with, and marry. Enter at your own risk. And if you find out about any cheating, do not ask about what went on. You will never truly get all the details, and some details you do not want to know. Exit the relationship immediately. Save yourself the heartache. Thank you, SSM, for all you do to help men and the few women that watch your channels. It makes a big difference. Well, bro, I appreciate you sending your story. And I don't need to bitch at you anymore about the cheating, hooking up with married women, you know. But if you want to redeem yourself, you'll let those husbands know. And they track you down, whip your ass, you kind of have it coming. But that's how you can redeem yourself. Because I guarantee this woman you hooked up with 4 months, she's going to be cheating on this guy for the rest of her life. Until she's 60 years old and her boobs are hanging down to her kneecaps and her ass is so wrinkly it looks like a freaking topographical map of Montana. Okay? That's what you can do. You can redeem yourself that way. Whether you choose to do that, that's up to you. And you could be opening a whole can of worms with regards to the husbands. But they deserve to know that their wives, the first girl, you didn't hook up with her, but she was going to anyway. And this dude here, because they don't deserve this. They may be clueless. They may be your typical nice guys that fell for the girl's bullshit, but there are plenty of good guys out there that are watching this that fell for the same bullshit too because they didn't know any better. So, listen, guys, don't hook up with other women that are married or in relationships. Not cool. It will come back to bite you in the ass. And again, in ways you never believe. But I appreciate this guy sending this story, I really do. And this definitely is revealing to a lot of guys out there and showing why so many guys don't do relationships. So, there you go, guys. The friendship thing, the sneaking around, the deliberately choosing the nice guy to take care of them and the kids, all right here, all the things I talk about all the time. So, for the people that hate me and say I'm, poisoning their minds or something like that, I'm just revealing reality. I'm speaking common sense and helping guys be careful and to know what to look out for. And, of course, providing entertainment along the way. All right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let us think about this. And if you're new to the channel, by the way, definitely hit the subscribe button. And if you guys haven't done so already, definitely subscribe to my other channels. They Did What and SSM Clips. Making a big push this year to grow these channels. And the more people sign up, the more YouTube thinks I'm doing great, will recommend me, and I can keep spreading the word and help the community grow. Lots of brothers out there that need help. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.